Good afternoon, guys. Today, the story will be about another of my uh, numerous synchronicities. So, this one is not as big as the others or big as many others, but it's still a synchronicity. It's still something that normally we would think an incredible coincidence or something that not possible. So this is about a girl I met in Australia before I met actually Kaori. Um, Now I cannot remember her name. I remember that she was English, and at the time my girl's type were blonde, blue eyes, uh, East European. The dream always was Swedish, and this girl was exactly the type of girls that I always wanted to be with. He was blonde, blue eyes, and they had this innocent face. So I felt that she was the one. I met her in a hostel in Sydney, but due my slightly shyness and obviously not good English, it was very hard to communicate or to express um, what I feel. So the time passed by, and we just you know say hi. Not really much more than that. So one day I found out that she was gone and she left. So I was sad, but I put how we say in Italy, ho messo il mio cuore in pace. I put my heart in peace, because I thought I would never see her again. But the universe had other plans. I think it was a few weeks later, I was in a bar in King's Cross, that was actually the area where the hostel was, and I was having drink with my friends from the hostel when few girls in front of me moved away. This girl, like I would say an angel, just showed up, and I felt that was my second chance. I was pretty drunk, so do her, and we start to talk. Because I think, like for everybody, when you're drunk, you actually speak better, you talk better. If a language is your second language, somehow when you're drunk, you can speak. And so we sort of like had a chat. Don't remember how long. I only remember that we ended up in bar toilet having sex. So we that night I took her back. I went back to the her hostel, and we exchanged numbers. And few days later, I texted her asking for a date, but she told me that she was leaving. She was going traveling to the Northern Territory. I was crazy about these girls. I had this crush. Uh, you know, I felt that she was the kind of girl I was looking, because at the time I was actually looking for a relationship, and I kept in touch with her every day, and every time I was about to actually leave Sydney to reach her, she would always make an excuse, like, oh, one day she was about to leave to go somewhere else, or she wasn't sure where she would go. Obviously, it was all excuses to don't meet me. And so I kind of realized slowly that she was not interested, and mine was a crush, but there was no future. So I finally got over it. So obviously many things happened. Um, I ran out of my money. I could not find a job. It was just after New Year Eve, January, so very quiet. I could not speak English properly, so I couldn't do anything than just washing plates. There was nothing in hospitality. Um, I could not find anything, literally anything, um, until and I was running out of money. Until an Italian friend, I don't remember his name. He was a really nice guy from Sardinia that was back in Sydney for a holiday. Told me about this town where he was working called Griffith, and it was farming. So he lent me some money, and with him I moved to Griffith. It's like honestly a really dodgy town with Italian heritage. Very famous for weed, drugs, and illegal workers. In the past, used to be like the head office of the old Italian mafia's bosses in Australia, and it was still very, very dodgy. Everything was cash in hand, a lot of illegal workers, but it was fine. It was what I needed for that month. I needed to save enough money to get out from that shithole and go back to Sydney. So I did it, saved money, went to Sydney, where I met. There was like a kind of like a joke, like those funny jokes you tell to people. I became friends with a French and a Swiss French, and we decided to travel from Sydney to Byron Bay, where the French guy bought a second-hand van, and the three of us we had this trip to Byron Bay. It was a 10 day trip. It was beautiful, so many wonderful places, and it was a wonderful experience. I got to Byron Bay, and we were planned to stay for 3 days and then go to Nimbin. That was the hippie community of Australia, where people smoke weed. They have like this marijuana day called the Mardi Gras, and so everything was going perfectly, all according to plan, until the second day. I was hiking around Byron Bay. I got a call, and they told me that they need to come to pick me up because those two idiots, they stole two surfboards when actually they could not even surf. They just thought that they can skate, so skateboard, so they might be capable to surf. So they stole this surfboard, they got caught, they ran away, and they had to leave earlier than planned. So I was pissed off. I said, look, I'm not coming. You can go. I'm gonna stay here one more day and then get the bus and go to Bundaberg. And so then the rest is history. I went to Bundaberg. I ended up in this hostel because my uncle didn't have he lived in the middle of nowhere, so he found me this place to stay. There I met Kaori, and spent almost a year in Bundaberg. Wonderful experience. Picking fruits and vegetables, waking up in the morning early, go to the field, working the field all day, go back home, go having drinks in the hostel beer garden. It was beautiful community. Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your family background, rich, poor, doesn't matter. Everybody was literally the same. Everybody was farmers, and everybody was sharing the same goal: working in the farm, renew the second-year visa, having fun, laughing, making friends, saving money, and keep going with the trip. It was, I think, like the most beautiful experience I ever had in my life, and I will go back another time on this experience because it was very meaningful and it really gave me some really amazing insight about life and how beautiful life it is when we drop this imaginary cultural status, like, I'm white, you're black, I am rich, you're poor, I am Muslim, I'm Catholic, you're Buddhist, blah blah blah. All imaginary. It's only an illusion. It's not real. And sad enough is that we kill each other for this imaginary fantasy, those imaginary stories that we tell ourselves to make sense of life. So in Bundaberg and in this hostel, nothing, any of this matter. It doesn't matter which was your religious background, family background, cultural background. Nobody gave a shit. We were all the same. Working in the farm, coming back in the hostel, going to big garden, drink and laugh, sharing dreams, hopes, loves, and go to sleep and repeat. And it was just wonderful. For me, was the perfect example how life is simple. You know, how life is so simple when we don't create those imaginary stories, and we give them a meaning and pretending they are real. But anyway, I'm leaving a bit from the main topic, from the main reason for this video. The synchronicity that for some reason it happened and still happening so much in my life. I do believe it's happening to everybody. Some is more aware, some is not. I mean, most of us is not, because they're too busy with our everyday struggles, working, and as I said, all our imaginary fantasy, and we don't notice those synchronicities that happening every day, I believe. Well, at least it's happening to me since when I start to notice them, and more I notice them, and more they happen. So in Bundaberg I met Kaori, and then we moved to Perth. So since when I met this girl in Sydney, it probably passed 1 year and a half, maybe 2 years, So forgot about her. We were friends on Facebook. Didn't really, I was with this girl and the Kaori, and obviously there was no reason for me to think about this English girl. So one day I noticed this post on Facebook. It was about her, saying that she was moving to Perth for a while, and obviously already I was thinking, wow, she's moving to Perth. All the cities she could actually move and to live in Australia. Where she came to Perth. All right, I thought it would be nice to see her again, but it was just like this kind of like a random thoughts. So at the time, after we left the hostel, after that, the story I told you about that crazy guy Bradley, the one, the biggest synchronicity. So we found a flat in it was called Forest Street, North Perth. It was just off street of Mount Lowley. It's like a rich suburb in North Perth, and we were very close to a supermarket, Coles. It was just like literally 80 meters away. So obviously we were going every day and do shopping. So literally one morning I go to do shopping and go to buy food for me and Kaori. I find Tim Tam in discount. Tim Tam is very famous in Australia, especially amongst backpackers. So if there is anybody being in Australia or from Australia, they know what I'm talking about. So I found Tim Tam discount. Wow, there was like I think $2. I bought 4, 5 packages of them, and the supermarket is very. It was very big. I think probably there was, and at the time they didn't exist yet. Automatic checkout, so machine, the automatic checkout machine. So they were all workers or cashier working in the shop, and there was like many, probably 10, 11. So a lot of them, doing cashing out. Cashing out? No, I'm wrong. No, anyway, taking payments. All right. I had to pay, and I get in front of this girl and looking at her carefully. It's like, wow, it's you. It's I was like, it was the English girl from Sydney from 2 years prior, the one I had the crash, and actually it happened to see her. I think just a week after I saw the post on Facebook that she was coming to Perth. So we had like a very brief chat, like, what are you doing here? I was like, I read your post, and yeah, she was just saving some money to then keep going on their traveling, and so that was the beginning for me. So all those synchronicities was obviously matter of thoughts, discussions with Kaori. I was like, what they are they real? What is this? Obviously it was getting more and more and more. And after my friend Alessandro, the one I told you I met in Madrid, then Lisbon, and then he was the one that told me he worked for my uncle in Australia. Then Bradley, and now this one. So obviously something started in my head, started to something is happening. There is something here that is not what I've been taught to believe. There is something more. Obviously, I was younger. I was still on party, fun, and all the things that when you're young you do. So I obviously gave some big thoughts, but I never really went deep. It took a while, quite a while, before I would really realize what was going on, and obviously get more serious trying to understand. So yeah, like actually now talking about this story, I'm wondering where this girl is, and I wouldn't be surprised if I get a message on Facebook or Instagram, or I met her here in London, where I moved back months ago. I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, like it's happened in all those years, in the last 7 years, to meet people that I met before. Man, it's really nothing special. I don't really. Obviously, it doesn't surprise me anymore. It's just fun to see it, and I reached the point to believe that it is the universe, God, I don't know, that is showing that we are on the right path. I don't know, it's just a feeling. It's just, it's just a belief. It's like everything else. It's nothing different than being Catholic, Buddhist, Hinduist. It's a belief, that I'm not sure 100%. I just feel but it seems like that every time I experience those synchronicity, and more often they're happening, and normally better is what I gain. Like it's like more than happen and better is, like things getting better and better. So it's kind of like that's why I reached the point to think that they are sign for me to understand. So like just like to tell me that I'm on the right path, because I always end up with something good happen, something good, always something good happen. Can be submitting amazing people, the right job, the right experiences. So when those synchronicities happening, I always feel good, because so far it always led me to amazing things. So start to notice them, start to focus in the present, and I believe that you will notice a lot of them every day, very often. So this one is it's actually I've been holding it all day. It's my singing bowl, Tibetan singing bowl. I like the sound. It relaxes me, especially when I want to meditate or feel in a bad mood. It makes me feel well. And I hope that it makes you feel better as well. See you next time.